Hello and welcome back to Absolute BSS, the podcast where we take a deep dive into the Casualpetitive side of Battle Spirit Saga from Bandai Namco. I'm Cameron.
And I'm Eric.
And we're back, and I have fixed my mic. I promise you, if you have listened to episode 1, I had a noise gate on that really shouldn't have been on because I was worried about fan noise, and instead it just clipped out my voice every couple of seconds. So sorry about that. If you suffered through that video, bless you. Or that episode, bless you. And we're back with number 2, and we're only going to get better from episode 1. So
Can only go up from here, baby.
that's right. So Eric, what are we going to be doing today?
So first up, I want us to take a look at the Elemental Spark cards that were revealed. I believe those come out in June, but I think we should take a look at them now and kind of talk through how we think they're going to shake up the meta and kind of just what they do in general for anyone who hasn't seen them yet.
Yes.
And then after that, we're going to do the same draft format we did last time, but this time we're doing yellow. So I know you're pretty excited about that.
I'm very excited about yellow.
Yeah. I'm not much of a yellow player, but I think I sent you one of the yellow decks I was messing around with when I was just like building some decks.
Yeah.
So
there's a lot of stuff you can do with yellow.
yeah, I definitely got excited about yellow. So yeah, and then after that we'll just close out the show. So should we get started with the Elemental Spark stuff?
Yeah, let's do it. I would like to say just right at the top, because normally we do this at the end, if you want to send us any kind of fan mail, critique, your top 10s, questions, musings, pictures of your alt art cards, whatever, we do have an email. It's absolutebsspod@gmail.com, and it's all clean and easy. So if you want to send us anything at all, just email us absolutebsspod@gmail.com. But yeah, for now we're just going to get right into the guts of this episode. Let's look at some set 2 spoilers.
Man, if people sent pictures of alternate art cards that they made like custom, that would actually be super
Oh, that'd
cool.
be sick too. Yeah,
Yeah.
show us your proxies.
Yeah.
Show us your best proxies. That'd be so cool.
Yeah. My proxies so far have been post-it notes that I stick onto core cards from packs. But anyways, yeah, Elemental Spark. Where do we start with this? I guess I'll introduce it because I've looked at the cards and you have not, right?
Correct.
Okay. So let's start with, I'll just kind of introduce what we get with Elemental Spark.
Okay.
There are 5 spirits and then 4 magic cards. So there's 2 red spirits and then 1 purple, 1 white, 1 yellow, and then 1 of each for the magic. So green and blue, even though we know that they are coming eventually, are not featured in the set. So
Interesting. Okay.
we the spirits, they all do the same exact thing. So if you want to just let's look at like Fire Elemental Rubius. I believe he should be the first.
Well, what a
First
sweet,
little
happy little phoenix guy.
Yeah, so he's a 0-cost elemental. At level 1 for 1 core, he has 1,000 BP and he cannot attack. And at level 2 for 3 cores, he has 2,000 BP and he can attack at that point. But then when he's destroyed, you draw a card.
Okay, so there we go. We're already getting some more draw cards, and across all 4 colors, even if it's in a simple kind of package like this. But I love the idea of 0-cost little guys that give you a reduction symbol while they're sitting on the field. It can slow down aggro a little bit if you can pop out a couple of these in the beginning. You know, you can threaten that chump block, and you can get some bang for your buck when doing that. I like that. So I'm looking at the other ones too. Shadow Elemental Amethystis. Same thing, but in purple. So same stat lines and everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ice
Yeah.
Elemental Snowbit. And
Don't look at the dragon
Sweets-
yet.
I won't. Sweets Elemental Ginger Bloom. I love this little guy. Cool.
Yeah, I really like that the yellow's got these like little gingerbread men going on.
They're going to
It's
fit
really
well
cute.
with the penguins and the flying turtles. I
I
got.
know.
I love yellow, man. Wow, cool.
Um,
Okay, that's
so
exciting.
yeah, I'm actually pretty excited about these. I think in most cases I would prefer like a one cost spirit that has a cost reduction of one, like an Overraptidon or something.
Yeah.
But I think one thing that's really cool about these is like I think the purple one is very interesting to me because of cards like Deadly Balance,
Yes.
where you could play this for free, get it to level 2, and then play Deadly Balance. And essentially, Deadly Balance now says for an additional 3 cores, you get to kill something for free and draw a card, which is
Right.
kind of cool.
Yeah. And I'm trying to think about how, what other strategies you can look at with the other colors. But yeah, that was the first one that came to my mind too. Like with all the really fun purple spells, this essentially also becomes a trade for some of those self-sacrifice purple cards. And Shadow Elemental Amethystis could also kind of be good splash. All of these could be good splash in any of the other colors to give you those reduction symbols on the field, just to reduce some of the fun magic outside of the monocolor kind of decks. So that's
Ooh.
another good point, and like a good deck building strategy to come from these 4 cost cards. You can really start catering to a splash of a second color really, really well with them.
Yeah. So maybe you play Rubius in a yellow luster deck
I
to
think
make
so.
your burning force a little bit cheaper.
Yep. I mean, I would run Rubius and Amethystis both in yellow and pull the Dark Matters or Core Drains, or you're right, Burning Force, Star Blast draw. And they draw
Man.
on their own anyway, and yellow already has a good amount of draw, but if you want to, I don't know, even a couple more bodies in there, I don't see what's wrong with splashing a couple of these little elemental guys. These are neat.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about these. So next up, let's talk about the magic.
Let's do it.
It's pretty similar to the spirits where there's one for each color and they all do the same thing. So
Got it.
we can pull up Ruby Radiance if you want.
That is what I'm looking at.
Nice. So this is a 2 cost magic with a 1 red reduction symbol, and then of course the reduction symbol is whatever color the other ones are. But it has a main flash ability. Select one of your spirits. It gains 2,000 BP during this turn, and then draw a card if you have 3 or more red symbols on cards that you control. So,
That's good.
pretty good. It's, I mean, that people are already playing. What is it? Charge draw.
Yep.
So this is just another card that does a pretty similar thing, and you can play it for one. So it seems
Yeah.
pretty good.
I love the idea of these cards. They're cheap, but they make the deck a little smaller. You know what I mean? It's easier to pull through. Or, I always tend to build towards 50, but you can build up to 60. So throwing a couple of these cards in there kind of makes that over decking a little less painful to me. So yeah, just seeing more cards with draw is really, really cool. Like I'll probably throw, and it's cheap BP boost, like 1 core to flash in just 2,000 extra BP. We've talked about it a lot. That can really be the difference. And
Yeah.
there's such a big world of flashing cards in this game that I feel like is not being explored in this early meta. Everyone's relying on those burst cards and that kind of chess game of chicken feeling. But the more cards you're drawing and the more access to flash you have over time, like it's going to be harder and harder to know when to swing. So I'm really excited to see some more draw support in all 4 colors. And I think it's really neat that they're doing the balance thing, and they're putting the creature character onto the magic card too. So it's just really easy to look at these cards and go, yeah, let me slot a few of these in.
Yeah, these are really fun. I will say one thing I don't like about this is that the Elemental Spark set comes with 3 booster packs and then 1 of each of these. So you'll have to buy 4 of this if you want play sets of all of these.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
And to be honest, I kind of do want play sets of
Oh
all
yeah,
of these.
I'm
So
definitely probably gonna do that. So
yeah,
definitely
yeah.
probably.
So that's $80 right there.
Yep.
Out the window. Um, All right, I'm really, really excited about this last one though, and I think you should just open it up and react to it live. I think you should just read it and tell
Okay,
everybody what it does. So go for it.
here we go. I've not looked at this. Jewel Dragon Smag, or Smog. It's a 4-cost Ruin Dragon with a red reduction symbol in the bottom right. It's a red card, but it has 0 reduction symbols for it. At 1, 2, and 3, treat this spirit's color and symbol color as purple, white, yellow, green, and blue, as well as red. Okay, so we're getting rainbow reduction.
Yep.
Oh, this is so exciting.
Yeah.
That is, I've been looking for a card like this, and this is really cool that they're bringing it in so early. At level 1, 2, and 3, when summoned, draw a card if you have fewer cards in your hand than your opponent has in theirs. That's huge. So as soon as it hits the board, you get to draw. Very, very cool. And at level 2 and level 3, when summoned, place a core from the void into your trash. And so let's go over those stat lines real quick, and then I'll go back over here because this thing is so cool. At level 1, for 1 core, it has 3,000 BP. At level 2, for 3 cores, it has 4,000. And you got to remember, it's a 4 cost that can't be reduced. So, you know, to bring this out outright at level 1 is going to be 5 cores. To bring it out outright at level 2, it's going to take 7. But that's when you get that, when summoned, you get to draw, and when summoned, you get an extra core from the void into your trash. And then at level 3 for 7 cores, it's an 8k, which I don't feel like you're going to be buffing this guy up a lot past that anyway. So really, for the utility of 7 cores and dropping this guy, you have a rainbow symbol, and you get to draw a card and get an extra core from the void. So this is a really cool comeback card, or just a let me solidify what I've got going on. This turn I can afford to spend these cores and get this body on the field and start bringing in whatever I want. The rainbow, this is so cool, man. I love this.
Yeah, it's so cool. My initial thoughts on this, I do think that this card, it does a lot of really cool stuff, and it has some very powerful abilities, but the costing on it is quite high.
Yes.
And so I think that as we move through the next few sets and we get more and more of these rainbow cards, like we'll probably find that this is maybe not as powerful as we move forward, but I like it. I think if you're going to introduce this mechanic, it needs to be a little bit pricey. It needs to have some cost to it.
Yeah.
And so I think this is a great way to introduce this to the game. So
and
pretty exciting.
What these 9 cards do, really, is it shakes up the current meta. It can help anybody build just a little bit better. You know, like if they're really wanting to slot in this powerful spell that they just happen to love and that they happen to find covers a lot of their bases, but they can't usually afford it, you slot in a couple of these elementals and maybe the Jewel Dragon, and you get that reduction symbol, and suddenly your opponent doesn't know what's coming. 4K is a little cheap at 3 cores, especially for a 4-cost drop. But that does keep him away from some removal, so you can try to stick him to the board and get that rainbow effect. But yeah, just overall, like, it's really neat what they're doing with this, like, what do you want to call it, like supplemental expansion. I really like it.
It's definitely, I like that it feels like an expansion. Like
Yeah.
it doesn't feel like anything super new that's going to like really shake up the game, but it definitely feels like just some fun little tools that you can use in most decks.
Yep, and I gotta tell you, I love the little gingerbread guys. So that's great art, and it's super fun.
One thing that kind of bothers me about this card, because it sets a precedent for like how rainbow reduction is going to work. I was really picturing rainbow cards or multicolored cards in my head to kind of be their own like color, I guess. Like,
Yeah,
I thought we would have like a rainbow symbol in the bottom right. So
I thought
it's
so too.
kind of weird to me that it's a red card, but then it's also rainbow. So like, is
Especially because
rainbow?
the cost for, well, I guess it's just for red. Never mind. I was gonna say the cost for red is like a hexagon, so you could have done like the 6 wedges basically of a Trivial Pursuit wheel. But yeah, I understand what you're saying. It is weird that, like, you know, at first glance you're looking at this and it's a red card, and it has no reduction. You're like, what? How do I play this? And then you have to
Yeah.
look a little harder. But
Like, why did they do that? Why did they not? Because initially I was like, oh, maybe they want it to be reduced by red for when you're playing it, but then when it's active, it does rainbow reduction. But then it doesn't have any reduction symbols, so I don't really see a point in it being red.
yeah,
But I don't know.
yeah, I agree. Like, it should be. I feel like it should be its own color.
Yeah.
But that's
But
just a very minor design gripe.
but I don't know. Maybe we'll see why they did that later on. Maybe there's a very specific reason.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe this turns into something else, and it's like if you have more red symbols than other symbols, ascend it or something from Jewel Dragon. I don't know.
Yeah. I'm also surprised there isn't like a keyword for that ability.
I know. And maybe it's early. Like maybe they're just testing this, and once it's further established, like they just want to get a card out that does something like this, but they're not sure exactly how they want to define it or border it. I don't know.
Maybe. Yeah, I guess we'll just have to wait and see. But either way, it is exciting that we have our first rainbow card.
Yeah, I think that's neat. I would definitely slot this into my yellow deck because it runs spells of other colors. And with that, I would throw a couple elementals in too. I really would.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool. All right. Well, then, yeah, that's those are the quick spoilers for the Elemental Spark expansion here in Battle Spirit Saga. We're going to move on over to continuing what we did with episode 1, but moving into a different color. This is a bit of a draft format. Like these are the top 10 cards that we would want to see out of the first booster. We're not drafting cards from the starter decks, but our reasoning for drafting these cards might correlate with cards out of the starter deck. Hope that's not too confusing. Again, if you suffered through episode 1's audio problems, you already know how this works. But yeah, we're just going to go back and forth talking about our top 10 here. And I would love it if Eric started because...
Oh, you want me to start? Okay.
I do want you to start. I'm very interested to see what your first one would be.
All right. So
especially because I love yellow so much.
yeah, I'm pretty interested to see. I once again, and this happened last time too. We might have a couple that overlap, but I have a feeling we'll have quite a few that are very different. Like
Yeah.
don't even appear on each other's list.
Yeah.
So just like last time, this is basically like a personal top 10 for each of us, starting from the top, like what our first round pick would be. And then if we pick one that was on the other person's list, then that person gets kind of like skipped over. Of course, you can always give your opinion. I would love to hear your opinion.
Right.
But
of course.
my number one, so this is my first round draft pick for yellow from Dawn of History for Battle Spirit Saga. Trying to build anticipation here.
I love it.
This is going to have to go to Archangel Michaela.
Yeah, I figured you would go with this archetype first.
Yeah.
Archangel Michaela rules. But yeah, tell me about it.
Is Archangel Michaela on your list?
Yeah, but like very bottom.
Okay, cool. I think I've been a little more intrigued by the luster kind of stuff.
Yeah.
For yellow. So oh my gosh, I can't say her name. Archangel Michaela. Too many CHs in this name. She is a 7-cost spirit with 3 reduction symbols. She is yellow, just like every other card we're going to talk about. She has a level 1 and 2 when summoned ability. So this can trigger no matter what level she is when she comes in. Reveal 1 card from the top of your deck for each yellow spirit and nexus you control. Add all magic cards from the revealed cards to your hand. Return any remaining cards to the bottom of your deck in any order. So, before I talk about that ability, I'll finish reading her.
Sure.
At level 2, during either attack step, if she has a soul core on her, you can use magic cards in your hand without paying their cost.
Which is insane.
Insane. Yeah, absolutely crazy. At level 1, she's a 4K for 1 gem, so she's out of Burning Force range. And then at level 2, she's a 7K for 4 gems.
Which isn't bad. That's not that expensive, especially for your like big boss SPR card in your deck.
Definitely. I mean, her level 2 ability is so good that it's well worth the 4 cores.
Yes, it's
Um,
brutal.
yeah. So the when summoned of adding, like, looking at the top cards of your decks, of your deck for each yellow spirit and nexus you control, and then just adding all of the magic cards to your hand
Yes.
is just free draw. I mean, you also have to realize here it says add all magic cards from the revealed cards to your hand. So they don't
Right.
even have to be yellow cards.
Right. Just magic cards. So Burning Forces, Star Blessed Draw, Absolute Ice Shield. If you're seeing them, you're popping them into your hand. And yellow goes wide no matter what archetype you're doing. It's got a lot of the best. Best is hard to say, but like it's got a lot of nexuses that you're gonna want. So you're counting a lot when you bring Michaela in. And so she's gonna tutor a lot of those cards off the top of your deck for you.
Definitely. And honestly, the second ability, the free magic cards, first of all, so powerful when combined with her first ability.
Yes.
And second, if you use her with luster creatures, where like every time you play a magic card during combat, it comes back to your hand.
Yeah.
I mean, you're just playing cards for free and getting them right back. So
Yep.
I think she is hyper specific in how you'd have to build around her. But if you do that, I think there's a very strong deck there. And I think she's only going to get better as more magic cards are released in the game.
I agree. That's such a good point because, again, you're right. Her level 1 and level 2 when summoned is she's just looking at magic cards. So if you've already got a magic casting yellow deck, every time that a new set comes out, like even if you're just hardcore yellow, you can get excited about all of the magic coming from any of the colors, and you can experiment there and like slot some cards in, see what sticks, see what works really well. And I feel like people who lean into this archetype right now in this meta are going to be leaders in shaping the next one once set 2 comes out. Does that make sense?
Yeah, because there's going to be some weird, funky little purple magic card that no one is paying attention to, and then you're going to be like, oh, that's going in my Michaela deck for sure.
Yep, exactly. So she's super exciting. I couldn't not include her on my list. I don't lean into this archetype as heavily. I don't own any copies of Michaela. That's probably the only reason that she's not ranked higher. But yeah, I did put her at 10 just because she's incredible. You can't ignore that. So she's on the list because she has to be.
Yeah, so funny. My number 1 is your number 10, but
Yeah.
your reasoning makes sense.
Yeah, she's cool though, and that alt art is really, really neat.
Absolutely, yeah.
Well,
All
cool.
right, so what's your number 1?
My number 1, unsurprisingly to anyone who has watched the streams or anything, God Beast Behemoth.
Oh, hell yeah.
I love the Fabled Beasts. This one especially. He's an 8 cost with 6 yellow reduction symbols. And it has the spirit, it's got 1 yellow reduction symbol itself. When summoning the spirit card from your hand, you may use the symbols of any spirit cards in your trash that cost 2 in addition to the symbols on your field to reduce its cost. So this thing is so easy to play. And for 1 core at level 1, it comes in with 6,000 power. For 2 cores at level 2, 8,000. And for 3 cores, level 3 is 11,000. And at level 2 and level 3, it gains when this spirit attacks, your spirits that cost 2 cannot be blocked by your opponent's spirits that are level 2 or higher during this turn. So there's a lot going on to this guy, right? Basically, he fits into decks where you're cycling through cards a lot, where you're chump blocking some 2s, or you just have a bad beat to a big rush board wipe or aggro board wipe or burning forces. The Fenrir mech from the white. Like, this guy comes in and just kind of turns the tides, or comes into an already really established board for cheap and pushes through just all these little cats and turtles and rabbits and gingerbread men to just destroy your opponent. And I just think that's really fun. Yeah, the gingerbread men.
Yeah.
They're coming for you. They're riding on the
coming.
back of this Ganondorf looking creature. Yeah,
it
what
really
can I
does
say?
it really does look like a Zelda creature. Maybe
Yeah.
just because I played Tears of the Kingdom for the first time last night. Not to get
Nice.
too much on a side tangent, but man, what a
Right?
game that is.
Doesn't it look Hylian? It definitely fits the vibe. Um,
Absolutely. I could see Link conquering this beast and riding it around
yeah,
Hyrule for sure.
or even turning into it, like because
Oh,
he's got the blonde locks, you know.
that would be cool. Oh, I didn't even notice. He has like a full like head of hair.
Yeah, he's got Link mane.
Wow. He should like skydive off of an island or
Oh
something.
my gosh, that'd be so terrifying. I love it.
Yeah. You would die if it fell on you for sure.
Oh, for sure. So yeah, that's my number one. I love that card.
This card was my number 2. So
That makes sense.
makes perfect sense. I really all I want to say about this, it says it costs 8. It really never costs 8.
No.
This card, you
In
can
your
play this so cheaply.
Yeah. Your opening hand it costs 8. Pretty much any other time it's costing 2.
Yeah. And 3 cores for 11k, like, man, I don't know that you can beat that
No.
cost per core or
It's
the BP
so
per
nice.
core right there.
Yeah, cuz you can pump him up, threaten some blocks. Like he covers a lot. And then you're not spending all your cores, so you can still flood with little guys who only need 1 core on them. Like he's so fun. I have 3 copies of God Beast Behemoth, and it never feels like enough. Might put that 4th in here, but I do love this card. I think it's so fun. And before I even got it, I was building around the yellow 2 cost, which I'll come back to later down the list. A lot of my picks coincide with the God Beast.
Perfect. Yeah, and it is I don't know, I can't remember if you mentioned this, but it is a fabled beast, so that will come up.
Yeah. So that's its trait. It's a fabled beast, and you'll be hearing me talk about my fabled beast later on down the list. So your God Beast was number 2.
Yes.
That's
so
awesome.
if you want to go on to your number 2 as well.
I will, and I can't imagine this one isn't on your list also. But for me, I put her right at number 2. This is Wonderland Alice.
She's actually not on my list, but it makes total sense that you would pick her because I know that you really like that card.
Yes,
so,
this card saved my life in one of the games that you and I played recently. And I almost forgot she was in here because she's an Otherlander. So she's like just completely kind of... There's only a few of these kind of Otherlander cards, and they're really cute, but like at first I didn't know what they wanted to do, but I think Wonderland Alice fits in any yellow deck, and I'll tell you why. So Wonderland Alice is a 6 cost spirit with 3 yellow reduction. She gives 1 yellow reduction when she's on the field. Her stat lines are like this. Level 1 for 1 core, 3,000. Level 2 for 2 cores, 6,000. Level 3 for 3 cores, 7,000. So once again, some clean, cheap stats. Not as high numbers as God Beast, right? But these effects are insane. So at level 2 and 3, so you have to have 2 or 3 cores on her to get these abilities. But level 2 and 3, when this spirit attacks, select one of your opponent's spirits, reduce its BP by 1,000 for each spirit you control during this turn. Wonderland Alice kills the elk.
Yep. That was devastating when you did that.
Yes, I killed 2 elks with this card over the course of a game. And it was enough to keep me alive and to let me win. And now level 3 ability. During either attack step, if you control 3 or more spirits, when this spirit would be destroyed, you may place a core from the void onto it to keep it on the field exhausted instead. What a trade-off.
Yeah.
It's like, you may if you want to. If you want to keep her on the field exhausted, you can pull a core from the void if that's what you want. I love the way that reads.
Yeah.
Essentially saying, yeah.
If you don't want to lose the spirit, like, go ahead and ramp as well.
Yeah. It's like a casino pop or a pit boss coming by you and just being like, bad beat. Here's like $1,000 more. Don't worry about it. Do you want to stay and play? Yes. Yes, I do. All right. So if you control 3 or more spirits, which again, in yellow, there are a lot of cheap guys. Even if you're not running the 2 cost, it's likely, that you'll have 3 spirits.
You've got some gingerbread men to throw out now.
Exactly. So. And or if you just have 3 other Land Alice or Wonderland Alices, they all see each other and they count each other. So that's kind of a really difficult yellow wall to get past. And then, you just ready them back up, declare an attack. So before a flash window even happens, uh, it's reducing a full creature down by 1,000 for each spirit you control. You can easily sap something 10k or lower. It easily is a little hard, but like I'm telling you, 7,000 power creatures pretty consistently with Wonderland Alice. I love this card.
Yeah, and it's like, what am I gonna do about this? Like, really, the only thing, I don't even know if I ended up killing this in our game. I think I just had to like attack through it and know that one of my attackers was just wasted.
Yeah.
And like, I guess you can Burning Force this if they leave it at one core, or you could like core drain it or something. But
Yeah.
I mean,
You're going to
you
have to
can't
purple Alice, I think.
Yeah, you can't do anything during the attack step. It's just like, it'll just stick around and help your opponent get more cores. So
Yeah. So at our first event, I opened a Wonderland Alice, and she was definitely awesome. And I've picked up a second one since. Gonna definitely get a third because, again, that power is so good. You want to see Alice show up at any time during your game. And that's what I love about Yellow, too. You can play it aggro, you can play it mid-range, and you can argue that you can play it late game with cards like Wonderland Alice and like Hippocampo and stuff.
yeah,
So that's my number 2. I love Wonderland Alice.
great card. I need to play around with it a bit more.
Yeah.
I think it might have made my list if I had just played with it a bit more.
That's fair. All right. What's your number 3?
Number 3, you actually just mentioned my number 3.
Ooh, is it Hippocampo?
It sure is.
Let's go. This is my number 4, so this is funny.
Okay, great. Okay, we are a little neck and neck with their Yellow then.
Yeah.
Although we are picking some stuff that, I mean, you picked Wonderland Alice, not on my list. So.
Yeah.
All right. Hippocampo is a 3-cost with 1 reduction symbol, Fabled Beast Spirit. It level 1 is 1 core for 2k, and level 2 is 3 cores for 4k. And it has at level 1 and level 2, whenever it attacks, it has Blessed. So, Blessed means place a core from the void into your life when the spirit's attack reduces your opponent's life. So every time Hippocampo makes a hit on your opponent's life, you get a life. This was my number 3 pick because it is the only card in the base set that has this Blessed ability. There is another card, I believe, called Dual Eagle, but it's a promo card.
Yeah. I need Dual Ego. Oh my god.
Yeah, the promo cards are so expensive. I was looking at singles of. I really want I think it's called Axe Biter, the like white mech card, because I know I'm gonna play mechs with the next set when we have Gundams.
Yeah.
So I was looking at that. That card is $33 right now.
That's insane.
I don't know why that has. I mean, it's a good card. Like I kind of know why, but like, man, I wish the promos were a little bit cheaper. But
I know. I want that Eagle so bad. Like,
yeah.
Again, we didn't put that on the list because we're not looking at promos. But real quick, I do just want to read it. It's a 5-cost Fabled Beast, so it's got that going for it. 3 yellow reduction symbols. 1, 2, 3 leveling. So level 1 is 3k for 1 core, 4k for 2 cores, 6k for 3 cores. At level 2 and 3, it gains Blessed while attacking, and at level 3 during your attack step, your spirits with Blessed cannot be blocked by your opponent's level 1 spirits.
Oh, that's so good.
So Dual Eagle and Hippocampo swinging in, getting some money back, money being life, is really, really good.
Well, for those of us who don't want to drop like $15 on a single copy of Dual Eagle, Hippocampo can do the job.
I agree.
That card is really good and definitely would have made my list if we were doing promos. But yeah, Hippocampo, the Blessed ability is so good. I think that I don't know if they're going to do more Blessed. I don't know if that's going to be. It kind of sounds like they will because there's a few cards that mention Blessed.
Yeah.
I imagine they're going to be pretty sparse with how they release more cards with that mechanic. Just because,
I hope so.
Yeah, I actually think I would actually be pretty upset if they just started releasing a lot of these. I think it would be a little too powerful.
I agree. I think I think if they keep the cards with the Blessed keyword to a minimum and to really like not make them just obvious 4 drops into any deck. I think that one, it makes it exciting when you get them. It makes them exciting when you see them. You don't have to build an entire deck around defeating that. And I don't know. I feel like, yeah, it would absolutely crush the meta, and everyone would just be playing Fabled decks, and it just becomes a new game at that point. Or I'm sorry, Blessed decks.
Yeah. And maybe that does happen later on, and maybe we do have to play around that when quite a few of these have come out. But that's fine if that happens like 7 or 8 sets from now, and we have a whole bunch of tools maybe to deal with it.
Yeah, exactly.
This card also, one thing I really quickly want to mention, there was a ruling recently about life gain that I wanted to bring up because I was wondering about this myself. So on the like official Battle Spirit Saga playmats and like the little life counters, there's only spots for 6 cores for your life. So a lot of people assumed that 6 was the maximum amount of life you can have. And apparently it has been confirmed that you can have an infinite number of life in theory.
Yeah, so you can go past 6, which is really exciting.
So I, kind of like we were just talking about, I think Blessed, like knowing that information now, because before I thought it was limited to 6, but now that I know that you can have as much as you want, or like as much as you can gain, I think Blessed is very, very powerful. Like even more powerful than I thought of before. So.
Yeah, it can definitely ruin the game if they give it too much support. I'm going to go on record and say that now.
Yeah. I love this mechanic, and I think it's very strong, but for those reasons, I also agree. Yeah, it could ruin the game if they go too far with it.
Right. Like, I definitely bought a 3rd copy of Hippocampo. I've opened 2, and one of them is shiny. I love this card, but I don't want to see Blessed on a lot of cards. Dual Eagle, I'll probably spend $15 for one of them and throw them into my deck because it's cool and it's a rare card and it has that Blessed. But I'm not going to spend $60 on a full play set and be that guy.
Yeah. I mean, you could. What if you were that guy?
Yeah, but that's not fun. It is a Fabled Beast, though, and that's the problem. It is a Fabled Beast.
Yeah. I'm a bad influence. I'm like, do it, Cam. Spend $60.
Yeah, maybe I will. And then you'll regret it every time we play. You'll be like, I can't beat these Eagles.
And then I'm going to go spend $120 on Axe Biters. Ugh.
Yeah, whatever the counter is.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Okay. Next card. That was my 3rd card. So...
Yes. So my number 3 is also a Fabled Beast. And I honestly thought about putting this guy number 1. I love this guy. This is my Fabled Beast. Flying Turtle.
Oh, yeah.
Flying Turtle. The most adorable little guy in the sky. 2 cost Fabled Beast. 1 reduction symbol there. It reduces by 1. Level 1 for 1 core, 1,000 power. He's packing. Level 2 for 2 cores, 3,000 powers. Now you're scared. Now you're scared of this Flying Turtle. I always run 4 because at level 2 and level 1, when summoned, reveal the top card of your deck. If it is a Fabled Beast Spirit card, add it to your hand. If it is not, discard it. So obviously, it's a draw or a discard. It's efficiency. Coming from Keyforge, I love any card that can just flip off the top of the deck and you either get it or you lose it. Doesn't matter because to me, I'm seeing more of the deck. Flying Turtle is such a cheap and easy way to try to get more cards in your hand to threaten a wide board, and you can chump block with him, or it just counts to all of these 2 cost synergies that I'm going to get into if you don't know about them already. Once he's off the board, he's still reducing God Beast Behemoth. God bless little Flying Turtle. I love Flying Turtle.
Flying Turtle is an honorable mention for me. I did have it on my list.
You rat bastard.
I did have it on my list, and I ended up removing it for something else, and now I'm kind of regretting it. I feel like you just convinced me that it should have been on my list. The card that you discard off the top of your deck also is reducing God Beast Behemoth, which...
That's true.
The synergy there. Like,
yeah, like if it's a level 2 not Fabled Beast, like Axe Angel or Sword Angel, it is reducing God Beast. You're totally right.
Yeah. So yeah, such a good card. It's also it definitely when I think of yellow, it's one of the first cards I think of. Very
Me too.
iconic.
It reminds me also of like maybe this is why I love yellow so much. In Yu-Gi-Oh, like you'd be watching the anime and like one of the secondary characters would have this deck of like all these really weird like little guys and you're always like, what can that deck possibly do? And then they like always inevitably like bring in something like God Beast Behemoth and you're like, whoa, I was so wrong to doubt the little guy. That's Flying
Yeah.
Turtle for me. Like Flying
Flying
Turtle is
Turtle.
my winged Karibo.
Yeah, I was about to say Flying Turtle is the Karibo of this game.
I love it. I love Flying Turtle.
Yeah, such a cute card.
Very.
Um, okay, cool. That makes total sense for you. I can definitely see that.
Yeah.
For that was your number three?
That was my number 3. Number 4 was
All right.
Hippocampo.
Oh, okay. So my number four is none other than the Blessed Cathedral.
Whoa! That's my number 5. I feel like we're going to
Oh
start
man.
overlapping here in the middle. But Blessed Cathedral, let's get into it.
It is a 4-cost Nexus with a 1 reduction symbol. At level 1, it costs 0 cores, and at level 2, it costs 3 cores. So at either level 1 or level 2, during either attack step, you can place a core from the void into your reserve when one of your yellow spirits is destroyed. So just free ramp. As Cam has already mentioned, you're going to flood the board with creatures. So um, yeah, just lots of free ramp for you.
Yeah. Because even if your opponent starts playing reserve because of the cathedral, what you do is you just swing in your army of flying turtles. They're gonna have to chump block a couple of them, and you're getting
Yep.
cores. And there's a lot of recursion in this deck. There's a lot of draw in this deck. There's a lot of great combos that can come off of the Blessed Cathedral. So as soon as you draw it, it's an instant play, and it can really just set up your entire course of the game. And it's so good. And honestly, this is one of those nexuses where it it ramps itself, so it's possible to level it up to level 2 and just let it sit there with 3 cores. I know that sounds like a lot, but then during either attack step, you're drawing more cards when one of your yellow spirits is destroyed and getting a core
Yeah.
into your reserve when it's destroyed. So like your opponent is probably not going to attack you, and if they do, you're going to find every answer you need going through your deck.
Yep. If you're playing mono yellow, this is a 4 of.
Yes, absolutely.
Um, it's just such a good card, and yeah, the ramp and the draw, like you have this wide yellow board, and you're swinging in with all that stuff, and then when it dies, you draw and you get cores. Like you're just replacing everything that just died, so like
Yeah.
it doesn't even matter.
Yeah, it's so true. And again, everything that dies is reducing the cost of your eventual God Beast Behemoth board. And if you can get 3 of those with 3 cores each, that's 3 11Ks. That's nuts.
Yeah. Yeah. And then if they manage to kill it, you get a core and draw a card.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
cool. That's my number 4. But that was your number 5. So do I move on to my number 5 now?
Yeah. Go on to number 5.
Cool. My number 5 is another Nexus. It is Green Field of the Victor.
Ooh. All right. I love this one. Tell
Is
me
this
about
one
it.
on your list?
It's not, surprisingly.
Okay.
But yeah, tell me about it.
Yeah. Yellow has some, like, these two Nexuses are just so good. Green Field of the Victor is a 4-cost Nexus with 2 reduction symbols. At level 1 and 2, during your attack step, if you only have yellow spirits on your field, all of your spirits gain 1,000 BP. That's decent and honestly pretty good if you have like a go wide strategy.
Yeah.
At level 2, during your start step, if all of the spirits on your field cost the same amount, so again, going on with the 2-cost theme that you've been talking about, select one of your opponent's spirits and reduce its BP by 2,000. So if your opponent, like, if I'm playing against someone and they have this out and they have all 2-cost spirits, then basically, like, I have to be very careful that I'm not gonna just like lose my spirits to this just sitting there. It only
Right.
costs one core for them to do that. So
Yeah. And again, like one of the big archetypes in yellow right now, if you're sitting down and you start seeing a lot of mono yellow come out, it's gonna be either the 2-cost stuff or luster with a bunch of 2-cost support. So like Greenfield of the Victor, odds are good that it's gonna show up or that it's in a side deck. And when this one comes over, you're right, it's one of those cool nexuses that can level up very cheap and get an even cooler ability there that you're not always thinking of. I think this is one of the only like during your start step triggers, and so it's a powerful one.
Yeah, I think this is just like a set it and forget it nexus, you know?
Yep, it's good, it's solid. That's just value.
Cool. That's my number 5.
All right,
next for you?
So I'll do number 6 because Hippo was 4, Blessed Cathedral was 5. So here's my number 6. This little guy, another little guy, 2-cost.
Cam loves his little guys.
Am I a fool? I think this is from the starter deck, so I can't actually talk about him.
Oh no,
I'm gonna have to pivot real quick. I am a fool. Yeah, I was gonna talk about Freestall for obvious reasons,
man.
But he is a starter deck card. That is my fault. So I'll just pivot really quick, and I'll talk about Caladrius, or as a lot of people know him, Dr. Duck or Bird Doctor. This guy's really cool, and it can still lean into why I was putting Freestall in here. But this is a 2-cost lyric bird spirit. So your Pentans are also your lyric birds, which have some synergy in themselves. But I think this is probably one of my favorites. It's a 2-cost with 1 yellow reduction. At level 1 for 1 core, it's 1,000. Level 2 for 3 cores, it's 3,000. And at level 2, while this spirit attacks, it gains Luster, which we talked about at the very beginning of this. Luster says, when the battle ends, return all magic cards you used during the battle from your trash to your hand. So Caladrius kind of is a selfish pick here because you get to talk about a lot of the other yellow cards in this set and why having a card with Luster out so early is so important, because you can flash these cards like Angelic Pressure. Select one of your opponent's spirits, reduce its BP by 3,000. You can get out of a battle like that in the early stages of the game, or you can make Caladrius just big enough to kill something while it's attacking with that Angelic Pressure, and then you get to put that right back into your hand after the battle is done. So that's really good. You've got your Gleam of Hope, which says main flash, draw a card. All of your spirits with Luster or Blessed gain 1,000 BP during this turn, and you get to bring that back together. So these little 2-cost creatures in yellow, these unassuming guys, are starting to get a little bit stronger with that Luster keyword, and they should not be overlooked, especially in a deck with the Michaela, but honestly, just any kind of yellow deck that's casting magic.
Absolutely. And I think it's worth noting as well that all of the lyric birds that we have right now are also 2-cost.
Yes, they are. So Pentan, Prince Pentan, and Pentan Chick, all 2-cost cards. They all do their own kind of little things, but a lot of them support each lyric bird and let you cast spells for cheaper. That's the gist of them, without going into detail on all of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's my number 6. Quick pivot there. Sorry about that.
Question. No, you're good. Question for you about Caladrius, or Dr. Duck, as he is known. Would you feel comfortable if you were sitting in a doctor's office waiting room and then Dr. Duck comes in through the door? Dr. Duck is going to be performing your surgery today.
I have a lot of medical anxiety. So seeing a Dr. Duck, yes, that I would trust that duck with all of my insurance numbers and everything.
Oh, okay. The medical anxiety actually would allow for you to trust the duck. You'd trust Dr. Duck more than Dr. Human.
I would trust Dr. Duck more than Dr. Human. That's what the PhD or that's what the D in PhD stands for. It stands for duck. Little known fact for you.
Incredible. We're learning so much today on the Absolute BSS podcast.
It's an educational podcast. So yeah, that's my number 6. Should we rebrand as an educational podcast?
Should we put our podcast in a different category?
I think so. It's early enough to pivot. It's episode 2.
Someone's listening to like some actually intelligent like Hank Green science podcast, and then we come on after.
Be so funny.
Okay. That was your number 7 turned number 6. So I need to talk about both 6 and 7, right?
That was just number 6. I
Oh,
replaced it
okay.
because it came from out of the set.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Well, my number 6 is Angel Throne.
Nice. This is my number 9, so let's talk about it.
Hell yeah. Um, Angel Throne is a 5 cost spirit with 2 reduction symbols. Um, it has the same when summoned effect at levels 1, 2, and 3. Select a yellow magic card that costs 4 or fewer from your trash and return it to your hand. And then at level 1, it's 3k for 1 core. Level 2, it's 4k for 2 cores. And level 3, it's 5k for 3 cores. So, the when summoned effect on this is really strong.
Yeah, like really strong, and you don't really care if this one sticks around, because you're dropping it for that one summon effect. You're fishing for a card that you've already played that you want to get more use out of, especially in a deck like Luster. Maybe you had to burn an Angelic Pressure or a Star Blessed Draw before you had Luster, but this is a way that you can put that back into your hand, regardless. So that's really
Or an
neat.
absolute ice shield.
Or an Absolute Ice Shield, bringing that total up to 5 in your deck, technically, or however many Angel Thrones you have. Absolutely.
Another sneaky reason why I picked this card. It is an angel type, and I think that we're gonna get some angel support at some point because
I think so too.
there are quite a few really good angels, and I think that there might be a card that does something for angels specifically. And when that happens, I think that this good card becomes a great card.
I agree with that. There's also another Angel that I think is very, very cool that a lot of people aren't talking about, and that is Chained Angel, something like that. I think it's from the starter deck, so I didn't put it on the list, but agree. I think we're gonna get some cool Angel support, and I'm excited for that because I think they're already such a neat play space in this set.
Oh yeah, yeah. Not to get too into it, but Chain Angel is the one that stops your opponent spirit from blocking when you spend a soul core on a magic card.
Yes,
Yeah,
which is super dope.
yeah. That, especially if there's angel support, man, that's going to be really powerful.
Yep. All right. So my number 7. Are you done talking about?
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah. Go for it.
This one is Royal Potion. It's a magic card.
Ooh.
5 cost, 3 reduction. It's a magic that says main flash, refresh all your spirits that cost 2. Refresh all your spirits that cost 2.
Yeah.
Not
and
all
you're
your
gonna have a
yellow
lot of them.
spirits. All your spirits that cost 2. Yes, I love it. This works in any deck. It works in your Luster decks with the Lyric Birds. It works in your Fabled Beast decks with Flying Turtle, Freestall. I mean, any of the angels, Axe Angel, Sword Angel, like all your level 2. Bring in some lava fishes from red. Bring in some cheap little purple guys with curse from purple. Bring in, I don't know, some bullet rays from white, and you're standing all of them. You know, this card just has a lot of versatility. It's super fun. It's not that difficult to cast, and you know, if you're swinging wide and your opponent's letting them go through, thinking that they can counterattack you and outlast, you just pop the Royal Potion, they're all stood up again. And with God Beast, you can really push that through. Or if just pure numbers are going to push that through, Royal Potion can win games. I really love it, and it has a beautiful alt art, full art card version of it that I really want to get. But right now I just have the sad little Fabled Beasts howling.
Fabled beasts are really cute, though.
They are cute. But I do want this, like, super cool, like, Fae guy.
Yeah, I mean, that is a really cool card, and you know that the foiling on that is probably nuts.
Just insane.
Yeah.
So, yeah, more Fabled Beast and level 2 support. Royal Potion, definitely on my list.
So, there's, like, an infinite attack combo with Dr. Duck
Yep.
in this card.
Yep.
That's crazy.
That is crazy.
So you just swing with all your turtles. Dr. Duck goes last. You play this during the flash step. All of your turtles and your duck are now ready to fight once again.
Yep.
And then you get this card back to your hand and you can just do it over again.
Exactly. It's that old adage, do you want to fight 30 horse-sized ducks or one duck-sized horse? Wait, 30 duck-sized horse or one horse-sized duck? And I don't know the answer.
I'll take the one duck-sized horse. Thank you.
Yeah, there you go. All right. Well,
Very
that's
nice.
that's it.
Cool. Number 7.
Yes.
All right. My number 7 is another lyric bird. It's Pentan.
Pentan. Look at this dapper gentleman.
Yeah. First of all, Pentan's art incredible. Little penguin guy pouring some tea for himself with a top hat on.
Absolutely.
And a bow tie.
Staying in his own lane, staying hydrated.
I want to point out here, Pentan is a proper gentleman. He's not wearing a clip-on bow tie. This is a real deal bow tie.
It is. And you know that's
so,
custom. He's got a wide neck.
Oh, yeah, definitely. There's no way that's stock.
No, absolutely not. You can't just walk into a Men's Warehouse and find that.
You might be able to waddle into a Men's Warehouse and find it. I don't know.
Pentan knows a guy, basically, in the kingdom.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
He's got the bow tie hookup. All right, so Pentan is a 2-cost, 1 reduction symbol, Lyric Bird Wanderfey. Lyric Bird here is probably a little more important than the Wanderfey, at least at the moment.
Yep.
At level 1 for 1 core, he's a 1k. Level 2 for 2 cores, he's a 3k. Level 3 for 3 cores, he's a 4k. So at levels 2 and 3, you can reduce the cost of the first magic card you use each turn by 1. And once again, not a yellow magic card, just any magic card. So he works in the 2-cost decks, he works in the luster decks, he works in a lot of places.
Yep. Start splashing when Pentan's around.
Yeah. I really think in the right deck, you could splash him into a purple or a red deck.
I absolutely don't see why not.
Yeah. I mean, it's just 2 cost, and then he's already paying for himself when he's out. So
yeah, he's sweet.
Cool. That's all I got to say about Pentan. I really like the art on the card. That's the last thing I want to mention.
Simple as
push
that.
that again. Yeah.
All right, I only have one left then. My 8, because 9 and 10 were chosen by you. So if you want to go with your 8, go for it.
Yeah, it's Divine Flower Queen Marigold.
Okay.
It's number 8. Divine Flower Queen Marigold is a 3-cost spirit with 1 reduction symbol. She has a level 1 and 2 when summoned ability that reads, you may reveal the top 3 cards of your deck, add 1 magic card from the revealed cards to your hand, return the remaining cards to the bottom of your deck in any order. And if you spent a soul core as part of this card's summoning cost, reveal the top 5 cards instead. At level 1, she's a 2k for 1 core, and at level 2, she's a 3k for 2 cores. So she's very easily removed by Burning Force, but once again, you're just playing her for the when summoned.
Right. And I also love, we talked about this in the red a little bit, there are only a few red cards that really talk about the soul core on their text. Yellow's kind of that same boat. So you can definitely afford to spend a soul core as part of her ability most of the time, just to look at more cards. And so that's really nice too. She's got that going for her. She's cheap. You're right. She's not super sticky. She is a 3-cost. So you're not running 4 copies of Divine Flower Queen Marigold, in my opinion. But she is good. She's really good to look for that situational card that you need at that specific moment, or for coming up. If you just used an Ice Shield and you need to get to another one, you can do that, and then you can bluff different burst however you want to play the game. But yeah, I think she's got a lot of utility here, and that's a solid pick.
Yeah, she just helps you search a little bit. I mean, 5 cards with the soul core is 1/10 of your deck you're looking at with her.
Yeah, it's basically a free opening hand that you're basically mulliganing, but you get to keep a card if you look at it that way. Maybe that's a little too complicated, but still, she's cool. I like that pick a lot.
Yeah, I think she's cool.
Yeah.
I also kind of picked her because she's a little maybe underutilized, I would think.
I think so.
I think she might get overlooked because she's a 3 instead of a 2.
Yeah.
All right. What's your number 8?
My number 8 and my last card on my list, because number 9 was Angel Throne, number 10 is Archangel. This is Exhaust Nexus.
Ooh.
So this is a 7-cost yellow magic card that can be reduced by 5, and it's a burst. So it bursts when your opponent resolves a spirit's when summoned effect. During this turn, reduce the BP of all of your opponent's spirits by 1,000 for each Nexus they control. So that's all right. That's not bad. It's really good in the mirror matchup though against yellow. You may
That basically just says kill all of your opponent's spirits in the
Yes.
yellow match.
And I would argue that it works pretty well in purple if they're running like the purple smoke or the nether world depths. So Exhaust Nexus has its uses, but its main flash is what's really cool. Main flash, you reduce the BP of all your opponent's spirits by 3,000 during this turn. So that on its own gets rid of aggro. It kills a lot of yellow. It also, covers a lot of creatures. We talk about that threshold. 3K is a really good number to see on a wipe card.
Yeah.
And even if your opponent just has one Nexus on the field and you burst this, that's 4,000 on every creature. That covers even more. A second Nexus, that's 5,000. That's even more. So I think it's kind of situational. I wouldn't slot 4 of these into your deck. But having a couple, I really think, like, even just to get those little 2-power creatures over a wall, Exhaust Nexus can definitely come in here and turn the tides of a game. And I know people are talking about this card, but I still feel like it's a little underutilized.
Yeah, seems pretty good. I mean, definitely should at least be a one of inclusion just for like the off chance that you can trigger it.
Yep. Just know your matchups. It's a good sideboard card too. Slot that over there if you know you're doing best of 3. I'd put a couple of those in the sideboard, one in the deck. You never know what you're going to run into.
Yeah, that's a nice card. I honestly have never even looked at this card.
Oh yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, it's really good. Wow. It definitely would have made my list if I had read it.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Man, this is why I have to rely on you for all the good yellow tech.
Well, this is how I feel. Like, just we play card games so differently anyway. I feel like every color we get into these conversations where it's like, oh, I never even looked at that card twice. Like,
Yeah.
it's fun, and that's a testament to the game itself and this limited card pool. That there are still cards that are, we're making double takes at depending on what kind of player you are. So I do like that.
Definitely, for sure. My number 9, and then I guess we'll do my last one after that. But my number 9, I kind of kept with the theme that we had in the last episode, where I just picked like a textless card with good numbers.
Interesting.
So I picked this card because I think the numbers here are pretty good, especially out of yellow. It is Lumen Angel Surreal.
I knew this was going to end up on yours.
Yeah, so 5 cost, 3 reduction. So you could potentially play this for 2. It's a spirit. It's textless. So at level 1, it's a 3K for 1 core. Level 2, it's a 6K for 2 cores. And level 3, it's a 3K for 8 cores. So I just think that, yellow, from what I've seen, doesn't really have a lot of like creatures that can get beefy for cheap, other than like the God Beast.
Yeah. You don't see these stat lines in yellow.
Yeah, so I just think this could be really good. And again, it's an angel, so I kind of have my eyes on angels a little bit. I think I might want to build something around angels as soon as we get a little more angel support.
Yeah. And Lumen Angel Serial is definitely a good one to slot in. At least 3 of. That's some powerful stats for not a lot of cores.
Yeah.
I like
I don't
it.
think it goes in every deck, because obviously if you're doing your 2 cost build, you're probably not even going to look at this card, but you're just building like a pretty basic yellow deck, I think this could go in there. Or maybe you just keep it in the back of your mind, like I said, for like when we get more angel support later.
Yep. Or textless for me, my little Spring of Norn deck.
Yeah, Spring of Norn, definitely this card becomes a lot better.
Yeah.
All right, my last pick. This card is the direct counter to a few of the cards that we talked about, and that's why I picked it. It is Heavenblade Dragon Ryut.
Yeah.
So, Heavenblade Dragon Ryut is a 4 cost, 2 reduction Fabled Beast Spirit. At level 1, it's 2K for 1 core. Level 2, it's 3K for 3 cores. And level 3, it's 4K for 4 cores. And at level 1, 2, and 3, during either main step, any cores that would be placed into either player's life are placed on this spirit instead. And then levels 2 and 3, during your turn, your spirits cannot be returned to your hand or deck by your opponent's effects. So the first one there kind of deals with some of the life gain effects, and then the second one deals with a lot of the like bouncing effects in white.
Yeah, which I tend to play that way in white. I like the bouncing stuff. I think it's powerful. It's not the most powerful yet, but I feel like we'll get more support there. So Heaven Blade Dragon Ryut, I would also argue, is really powerful counter tech, but not necessary in every deck. So he's a sideboard card right now until we see more of those bouncing supports and maybe even more blessed support like we were talking about. So I think, yeah, this guy's a sleeper. This is a black horse in the meta. He's cheap enough. He scales pretty decently. And it's easy to get those abilities going for not that much. I think it's neat. And again, it's one of my fabled beast guys. I want to see more support for them anyway. I like this pick at number 10 for sure.
Yeah, really solid sideboard card.
Yep.
I agree. Question about this. I'm actually, just because I'm looking at this card much more closely right now, it says that the first ability triggers during either main step. Does that mean it would work on Blessed or no?
Oh, that's a good point. I guess it would turn off during attack steps.
Yeah.
So I guess it protects you really from counter sword. It's a counter to counter sword.
Oh, okay.
But
that makes sense.
Oh yeah, you're right. During either main step. That's weird. Or like maybe something from Yeah, I don't know. That's weird. Maybe we'll see some more blessed magic stuff that happens during the main phase.
Maybe.
Or a creature that if it's alive during the main phase, maybe it gets you a life back. Kind of like the opposite of Fan Attack Elk, maybe. Because right now that is some weird utility.
Yeah, I guess in my head it was like anti-blessed, but I don't think it actually counters blessed.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't say like during either main step and then this ability, and then it doesn't say anything like until the end of the turn do this.
Right.
Something.
It's just during either main step.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, I'll have to look into more of like what can do that and what this actually negates.
Yeah.
Cool art though.
I think it's still worth sideboarding though. The white bounce effects are pretty rampant in those aggro white decks. So
yep, I agree. Well,
cool.
that's
I think that rounds out our list. Yeah.
That's a good list, man. I love exploring yellow. I love talking yellow with you, and you've definitely opened my eyes to some other yellow strategies that I'm not leaning into as heavily right now that I would like to check out. So yeah, I like that. I think
absolutely.
I think next time we'll dive into purple. Does that sound good?
Purple, yes, purple will be so fun. Although quite a few of my favorite purple cards I think are in the starter deck, but that's okay.
Oh yeah, that'll be interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, well, I think that's. Do you have anything else? I think that's going to do it for now. We're just a little over an hour. I feel like we can wrap this up and get on out of here.
Yeah, sounds good to me. You want to plug all this stuff? One last
time? Yeah. So if you want to email us or just interact with us in any way, we're Absolute BSS Pod on Twitter and Gmail. So you can email us at absolutebsspod@gmail.com. Find us on Twitter, Absolute BSS Pod, and we'd love to hear your thoughts on some cards. Show us your breaks. Show us your favorite cards. Tell us why. Just talk to us. Let's hang out. We're Casualpetitive here, so we're not gonna like share your dirty secrets and your crazy decks, but I would love to see them. So you can do that there.
I would love to see some deck lists and stuff.
Yeah,
that would be really cool.
Absolutely. So share those with us, and we'll reach back out and talk with you if you want to. I think that'd be really fun. We'll deep dive into purple next time. Talk about any current events if they come up.
Oh yeah, one last thing actually.
Yeah.
Shout out to Steven.
Oh yeah, Steven, thank you for subscribing to our YouTube channel. If you want to watch the YouTube video companion to this, it's nothing special except that we flash the cards up on screen while we're talking about them. It's also essentially just a different form of this podcast. You can find us on YouTube, Absolute BSS Pod.
Hell yeah.
Absolute BSS Pod. If you search that, you should find us everywhere. We're on Apple Music now. We're on Spotify. Maybe whatever else you're listening to us right now on. And we hope to, keep making some more fun future content for us. Let us know what you want to hear us talk about, what you want to have answered, what you want our opinions on, anything at all. Just contact us and we'll put out some more episodes. Thank you so much, though, if you made it this far, for tuning in to Absolute BSS Pod, the Casualpetitive podcast about Bandai Namco's Battle Spirits Saga. I'm Cameron.
I'm Eric.
And we'll catch you next time.
See you, everybody.
Bye.